From what I saw in your book on Amazon when I was going through, you said that you didn't have relatives in the industry. You had very supportive parents.
Yes.
And you had to break in what you call the old-fashioned way, which was hard work, discipline, and faith. And I was wondering if we could talk about the faith part. What is that exactly?
Faith is a if you don't believe in yourself, why do you expect other people to believe in you? And it's your dream. Someone else will live their dream, and why shouldn't you live your dream? That was always my opinion. And it's scary because you don't know if you're going to, or they will allow you to do it. So you have to write something that you care about, but also that somebody else sees, that care in there and wants to make it. Then the business part becomes, they want to invest millions of dollars in your idea as opposed to somebody else's idea. And it's finding that company, it's the timing, finding my spec sold because my first and only spec, which was my 5th spec, but that opened the door for assignment work. So I haven't sold a spec since then because I've been blessed with assignment work, which is fine. I've written other specs, yes, but it's exhausting to try to continue to, this one and maybe this one. It's much, it's a much better experience when the producer comes to me and says, "Are you available? We have this concept that's green lit. We need a writer." You're like, "Thank you very much. I would love the job. I'm available." And I've turned down stuff as well. But the faith aspect, you always have to have faith. Not blind faith, but there are times when you're staring into that dark abyss and you go, "I'm going to take the leap," like when I worked a day job at the law firm. I only had a day job for 2 years in my whole life. I worked other odd jobs like restaurants and things. But once I decided to take that day job because things were really slow in my career. When I got the call from the production company and they said, "We have this job, we want to get back in business with you," I took that leap. Now, it wasn't, the void wasn't so dark because it was a job, it was money, but I could have thought about it and said, "Well, I'll stay at the firm because it's steady money and I'll do this other job, and I can do both, right? Because I have." And it wasn't worth it for me to do that. I was willing, the minute they said, I hang up that phone, a 2-week notice, I took that leap because I just need to do that. I have to live the life of a writer, and luckily the last X number of years I've been able to do that, live the life where I get up and that's the only thing I do. That's my job. And it's, the faith aspect, like I said, as we discussed before, you always have to have people who believe in you, but that only goes so far. They can all, "Yay, you're the best, that's why I say don't give your script to your family members to read, because unless they're executives at Warner Brothers, because there's no real point in it. Everybody's going to say, "That's the best thing ever." Well, it kept my interest, Yeah, great. So everybody can rally around you and say, "Yay," and have the faith, but it comes down, you're living it. You're sitting in front of the computer, you're trying to come up with ideas, and your choices that you make are directly affecting your life financially and psychologically and relationship-wise with other people. So there's a lot of things involved about pursuing a screenwriting career, not just, "Oh, I'm going to write a script." There's a bigger picture about how it affects your life, especially when it becomes how you pay your bills. So faith is an important part, but you have to, there's always a fear still. I mean, when I get a new job, I get nervous. I think I read that Henry Fonda would throw up on stage before he went out to do a performance. You're like, "You're Henry Fonda." But I think a little of that nervous, not too much fear, but that that's where the respect for me comes into the craft, where I sit down, I go, and my mom always says, "Oh, you'll know what to do, you're fine." To this day she says that. I go, "I think I'm fine, but I'm pretty sure I'm fine." And then, yeah, I finish it and I go, "Yeah, okay." But I don't want to have that arrogance of like, "I'll work it in, this is fine." No, absolutely not. So I have a tremendous faith in my ability, but I temper it with humility and also the realities of the business and just situations, I guess. So faith is back to your question, is extremely important. But I think faith in yourself first and foremost. Don't search outward for it. You know, like looking for validation from outside to get that. You know, like, oh, I'll write something, and if an agent likes it, then that validates me. You know, know and have faith in your abilities first and foremost, and then go out there and see what happens.
Has gratitude always been a part of your makeup? I see that gratitude seems to be a strong thing for you, but maybe I'm wrong. But has it always been in your nature?
I mean, gratitude.
Seems like you recognize.
Yes. Well, I think also the longer you're in the business, it always has been my makeup, yes, but the longer you get punched around and see how things work, for myself, everybody has a different story. You are very humbled and gracious, and then you say things like, I'm blessed. Yes, I feel that I'm blessed, but I also have done a lot of hard work and a tremendous amount of sacrifice in my life to devote to this, and not for the sake of being, you know, the wealth and the riches and the loot, you know, because there's no fame and fortune in the screenwriting game. I mean, you know, it's when you have half of the writers in the Writers Guild don't work every year, and those are professional WGA writers. I think the odds last year were like 5,200 or something out of approximately 10,000. So the other half are looking for jobs and not working, you know, or the 50,000 scripts that are apparently registered with the Guild every year. Those are just the ones registered, or the 70 to 100 specs a year that sell. You know, and I always tell writers, I don't bring up those odds to scare you, but for you to realize what you're up against. You know, you wouldn't go climb Mount Everest without the training and the help and the tools. You just go, okay, I'm going to go do it. Now, there's a certain courage in doing that, but there's also a certain stupidity at some time, you know. And just like writing your script and being eager, and someone says, oh, I want to read it, and you give it to the wrong person, and then that bad note circulates, you're finished. You know, I mean, there's things like that. So, yeah.
With this job at the law firm, so you got this movie or you got some other show or something. Did that pan out?
No, it was made.
It was made. Okay.
Yeah,
so
I went to the set while I was working, and
Mm-hmm.
that was the hardest part, where I'm like, I don't want to go back. And then I had to go back. Even, you know, I'm deja vu. I'm back in the situation I was however many years before with you know, doing the catering when I sold my first spec, because the way monies are doled out in the step deal, just because it's optioned or whatever, doesn't mean you can quit your job and live in Bel Air, you know. So there's the realities about paying your bills. So same thing when I was working at the day job. But again, I was like, it starts to psychologically work on you. Say, no, but I'm a writer. It's like, yeah, you work at a thing. You know, I'm back in the tunnel again. You know, and there was another writer there who was a sitcom writer, and he had worked on things, and he too hit a short thing, and, you know, a slow period, and he was on his way to get back too, and he did too. We all sort of quit at the same time, and he got back into writing sitcoms, and I was like, yeah, you know, no looking back. And I don't know. It's just now again, you know, I don't have, you know, children, you know, so you know, that family aspect is a whole different, you know, thing. So what I say is from my own opinion. I mean, it's from my own experience. But it sort of goes for everyone, you know, with disciplines and things. You have to really keep your eye on the prize and the big picture, as I say, because you can get lost so easily. Even when you're in it and doing it, you can get lost. You know, so you always have to have that bigger plan about, where am I going with my career? What am I doing? You know.